Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy The Fulfills back again with another Nina matchup guide. Today we're going to be covering Bryan Fury, and yeah, this is the next character. If you guys are unaware of what's been going on with the YouTube channel, this is a brand new series where I'm going through all of the Nina matchups, all the one-to-one matchups. We're going to go through all the characters by the end of the series as I learned them myself, of course. I believe by the time you're watching this video, there's about 3 matchup guides already up on the channel. So if you haven't seen them, make sure you go check that out. We've done Kazuya, Jin, and I believe the latest one was Lee. Should be Lee. So make sure you guys go check those out too if you missed out. Today though, we're going to be focusing on Bryan. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to approach the matchup, things that I've learned throughout the matchup. And I'm just going to give you guys my knowledge, and hopefully that helps a lot of you guys by the end of the video. Before we get into it though, if you guys have been watching my content for a while, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to it or if you just haven't done so. Share the video as well if I managed to help you out, or if that showed you something you didn't know about throughout the video. And yeah, let's get straight into the video, man. Let's go. Okay, now first I want to talk about the general approach versus Bryan. What I found to be the best approach is actually staying pretty close to his face and being very aggressive with rushdown pressure. Being aggressive with the jabs, sidestep ones, just being very aggressive in general around this range. Specifically, as close as you can get, really. It's very effective versus Bryan. Why? Bryan is a very counter hit heavy character. Playing at a distance around this range against Bryan actually works to his benefit and not really Nina's in this matchup. He has very great counter hits that are pretty quick as well. If you look at Nina's counter hits from here, she has like down back 2, right? I guess forward would be a counter hit because on counter it naturally combos, right? I guess, but yeah, at a range when it comes to going button for button or normal to normal versus Bryan, it's hard to compete. Bryan has buttons like 3+4, I believe it is this one here. Yeah, it's got pretty good range. He steps forward as he does it, right? And if it counter hits as well, I'm gonna try and make it counter hit if I can. There we go. Counter hit launcher, right? Counter hit launcher. You get hit by any of these in neutral. Counter hit launcher. Get hit by any of these. Extremely scary. Very scary. So that's one of the reasons why playing at a range benefits him. Another one, he's also got this here. Full circle full circle back 1. This is basically a mini electric. This right here, look at the range on this. Right? This has good range. And he sways backwards as he does it. Because it's a full circle back input. It is high, so you can duck this. Right? You can duck this and launch, so there's a risk to it. However, it's not something you react to. This is something you preemptively want to be ducking to, right? Can't really react to this. So yeah, if you do duck it, of course, can punish it just like everything else, right? But that's fine. But yeah, be careful with that because playing at a range versus Bryan for too long, sometimes you have to, right? Sometimes you're forced to, but for too long, it's very very scary. You kind of want to be up in his face because when it comes to rush down pressure and just having quicker attacks and stuff like that, sticking to your opponent, Nina's a lot better in that than Bryan. Bryan tends not to really like people in his face applying crazy amounts of pressure. He kind of needs a bit of breathing room, time to set up his counter hits, space himself. Whereas Nina, she can play very messy up in your face as well. So yeah, that's very important to keep in mind when you're playing against Bryan as Nina. Now, I also want to mention with the full circle back 1, this one here, because this is a thing you have to worry about constantly in neutral, and keep in mind, this is also a counter hit launcher, by the way. I'm gonna try and get counter hit by this. Okay, do that again. Okay, do that again. Again. There we go. Right, you get counter hit by this, it's a launcher, it gets a full combo, and Bro, like, his damage at the wall is insane. Probably one of the highest damages at the wall for any character in the game. Bryan gets a huge amount of damage at the wall. Of course, he's not the only one, but it is very, very good at the wall. Now, so getting launched like that is very detrimental. Again, another reason why staying out of range, in terms of risk reward, it's not really in your favor. You want to actually be up close to Bryan if you can. So because of Cool Circle back 1, you have to be doing occasional ducks in neutral around this range because you can't react to this. So occasional ducks in neutral, you don't want to just stay ducking. You never want to just be staying ducking. Occasional duck and stand back up. Duck, stand back up, right? Just enough for you to be able to visually see you've ducked it and then you can launch, right? But occasional ducks in neutral, not when you're too close to him though. When you're like, when there's some sort of separation, is very strong in this matchup. The reason I said occasional is because he has a counter to people that keep ducking at that range. Let me show you what that is. If Bryan does, I believe is full circle forward 1, full circle back. Sorry. What's this? Oh, okay, it's this one. Forward again. If Bryan does full circle forward 1+2, this one here, right? It's a mid. So full circle back 1 was high. This right here, this is a mid. So you're guessing between that and the high. So if you were to duck, he engager and you're holding that, right? So that's pretty much the 50-50 here. Which is why occasionally you'd hold the Cool Circle back 1, which is actually plus on block, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. His Cool Circle back 1 is also plus on block. So if you block the high, he's +5, which is what makes it extremely powerful. Whereas the mid that you're guessing with, it's -9, so he does lose his turn afterwards. But just understand this is the situation you're playing around. It's these two things, and also his 3+4, which is a counter hit launcher. This one here. Those are his 3 really strong tools in the neutral. That are all very scary. All very scary. That's what you gotta look out for. Alright, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is using Power Crush against Bryan. You don't want to use many Power Crushes against Bryan, strings specifically. When you're blocking his strings, try not to Power Crush in between too much, simply because he has very good counter hit strings. So I'm gonna demonstrate one of those. Here's a 1v1, right? This is a high mid. Very good string. If I was to try and Power Crush on the last hit, I can counter hit launched into a full combo. Now, this is a very good counter hit string, not only because of the last hit, but also because he can delay it. He can delay the last hit, which means I have enough room to actually press, right? See that? Because he delayed the last hit now. I can even Power Crush. However, the timing of my Power Crush has to change. I have to do the Power Crush straight away, as soon as I can, pretty much. If I delay the Power Crush too much, this happens. If I delay it more, like that, now I get counter hit, right? So if I flinch a little bit, then I get counter hit. So you can mix that up and mix you up. So it makes it very scary for you to do Power Crushes in general when he's going for strings. Now, this is just an example of one string. He has multiple other strings, which are you don't really want to be doing Power Crush against. But just to give you guys a general idea of how to approach it without overloading you guys' brain, try not to Power Crush too much against Bryan, because he has a lot of a lot of counter hit strings, which will blow that up. Right, the next thing I want to mention, this is a tendency that I've realized a lot of Bryan players have, and that is when Bryan players feel pressured, like for example, you've been rushing them down and they don't want you to come back in. When they feel like you're gonna go in on them, they tend to back up and do up 4. So let me show you what that looks like. All right, they're feeling a bit pressured, back up a little bit, up 4. Go. That's this is also a launcher, and then that launches you into a full combo. So a lot of the time, and they'll beat stuff like jabs, down forward 1, like lows, especially if you go for low, will beat your low. It's pretty quick. So yeah, you gotta be mindful of that. Sometimes this is something they do. Again, I like to feint. I like to do a lot of feints with my movement. Pretend I'm going in and just stay back. Like fake the forward dashes. Just forward dash, back dash. Simply because it baits them into panicking. And this is a tendency I've realized most Jack players have when they get very scared of you coming in. So yeah, this is with punishable, by the way, on reaction. So definitely don't be shy to go for it. The next thing I want to mention, I actually need a smaller stage to demonstrate this easier, so we're going to change stage real quick. All right, now what I want to talk about next is Bryan when he's in heat. When Bryan activates his heat, he becomes different, and he has power. He has not power break. He's got guard break properties on some of his strings, and one of those strings is his 3+4 into 2, I believe. Let me show you guys what that looks like. So. Alright, activate heat. This string here. Alright, so this string here is pretty scary at the wall. I specifically went to the wall because without the wall, here you go. You block this, you're alright. Obviously chip damage, but you're fine, right? If you're at the wall, oh, start the recording. 1 second. Here we go. If you're at the wall and you block this, you're fine, right? You're fine. However, it changes because there's 2 different versions to this. The second version is the charge version. So if I set Bryan to charge the 2 at the end of that string, now this happens. Charge the 2, this happens, right? So you want to be careful. Now what this does, if you block the fully charged version, now you get wall splattered out the wall. And he gets a free combo for that. So this is very scary. Now I'm just going to show you guys a few answers to this that you can do. Now it's a little bit risky because you could either charge it or not charge it, right? But if they do charge it, some of the stuff you can do is power crush is what I would advise here. Because one, it's a heat engager. So you get health back as well. So if you were to actually get hit by the hit, let me try and get hit by that attack, but power crush it. Try to get hit. Don't want to get count hit though. See if I can land it. Regardless, if you absorb a hit, it's a heat engager, so you'll get the health back from it, and then you're in a plus situation anyways. So using power crush in this situation, you want to delay power crush a little bit as well. You don't want to do it straight away in case he doesn't commit to the charge, right? You want to wait to see, oh, okay, he's charging it. Let me attempt the power crush and then be rewarded. So yeah, be mindful of that because it is scary. Mid screen, you don't have to worry too much because of how much it pushes you back. See, there's no mix there really. -9, well, he's +9, but he's so far back that doesn't matter. This becomes a lot scarier at the wall. If you want to be a bit more ballsy, I guess, if you just know they're gonna do it, I guess you could interrupt with a counter hit. Like if I absolutely knew they were going for that, I'd do something like this. If I absolutely knew. Right? If I absolutely knew they were going for it, then of course I'd counter it. And then I just get my combo here. That's just if I was completely positive that that's what they were gonna go for, right? But if you don't know, it's best to stay safe. Otherwise, you'd be losing there. But yeah, I just want to point that out. Okay, now I've had to switch to Bryan simply because I have to demonstrate this as Bryan. And that is, when you're playing Nina against Bryan, try to stay a little bit frame tight when you go for down back 3 specifically. Also down 2. This would also apply for down 2. Just your lows in general. The reason why I said that is because Nina's down back 3, like the low, you see how it obviously it forces crouch on hit, right? Forces crouch, which means if Bryan presses a button on like in return, it'll be a while rising button. See, while rising 4, while rising 1, you gotta be careful, right? The reason why I say stay frame tight is because something that is very common for Bryan players is to do while rising 3 as they're getting up, because it's a counter hit launcher. This is very common. You hit them with the low and then they go for while rising 3 because it's a counter hit launcher. 12 frame startup, and it's very quick, right? So this is something that will do a lot, and it's a counter hit launcher. You lose a lot of damage for that. I've mentioned before his damage at the wall is insane, so yeah, you don't really want to be eating that. So back to what I was saying originally, stay in frame tight. What would you do in this case? You could easily go for down back 3 into down forward 1. That's one of my easiest checks. Down back 3, down forward 1. You know, down forward 1 has a bit of tracking as well in case they try to sidestep and stuff. So yeah, let me try and use it. See that? Frame tight, get counter hit every time. So this is something I do a lot against Bryan, simply because they like to do while rising 3 a lot. This is like, yeah, make sure you guys are using that. All right, now the final thing I want to mention, this is just a side note, something to just keep up in here. When you're playing against Bryan, just try not to play too risky in general. Like I said, the base game plan is to play a bit rush down and be in his face, but Nina has the privilege of being able to be in rush down without being extra risky, simply because she has sidestep 1, she's got down forward 1, 2. She can poke you with jabs and still be in your face constantly. She's able to do that. So try not to be too risky. Now, especially when you're on wall stages, simply because of Bryan's damage output on wall stages. If you're playing on the infinite stage, or it's a stage where the walls are like super far out, you can be a little bit more risky when you're mid-screen. But as soon as you get near to the wall, it gets a little bit scarier, because a single launch from Bryan, and then that could be the end of the whole game. So be careful with that. And yeah, that is gonna do it, man. That is going to do it for the matchup guide versus Bryan Fury in Tekken 8. Hopefully this was able to help some of you guys. Let me know. Also, I want to know who you guys want me to do next. Let me know in the comment section. What is a guide you guys want to see from me? What's the next character, man? Let me know. If this was able to help you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you guys leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. We're actually really close to 2,000 subscribers, so I really want to hit that in the next, maybe in the next couple of videos. Let's do it now. Why not? I'm sure there's enough people watching the video that are not subscribed. Make sure you guys subscribe, man. I'd appreciate it. Leave a comment, share with your friends, and yeah, man, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.